2001 Toyota Sienna radiator replacement. I'm Brian Eslick from How To Automotive, and I'm going to walk you through that process. Okay, to get started, what I'm going to do is take a bucket, slide it underneath the car, roughly right underneath this lower radiator hose. So I'm going to catch it because I'm going to take the lower radiator hose off here and let the coolant dump and right into the bucket. And then after that, I'm going to take the upper radiator hose off here. For those of you who've never taken these type of hose clamps off, all you use is a pair of pliers like this, and just squeeze the fittings, and then take the hoses off. And also, you're going to have some vacuum lines and stuff like that mounted into the little looms. Just pop those out too. Next, what we're going to do is right here below the lower hose is the two transmission cooler lines, and we're going to take them off here. So you have to squeeze clamp, slide them off, and then slide the two hoses off. And the transmission is going to lose a little bit of transmission fluid, maybe a quarter quart or so, or a half quart maybe not even that much, about a quarter quart. So be prepared to catch that. And then after that, so after your transmission cooler lines are unplugged, we're going to unplug the electrical connectors for the fans. So you're going to push the tab here and pull the wiring off here. And then the fuse box here is kind of in the way. So what we're going to do is just remove the 110mm bolt here, and it'll kind of move. You'll be able to move it around. And then right underneath the fuse box is an electrical connector for the other fan here. We're going to remove that, or just unplug it. Also, after you get the bolt out here for the fuse box, there's a little clip right here. You're going to push it, and you push it. If you can see it right there, you push it in, and then you can pull the fuse box out and you can maneuver it. Also, here on the passenger side, there is a coolant temp sensor. You just unplug that. So once you got the wiring harness unplugged on both sides, like that, and this is kind of just dangling in here. You don't need to unhook any. Go ahead and remove the 12mm bolt here and the 12mm bolt here, and take the two brackets off. Okay, now that the brackets are off, what you're going to do is you may want to have a helper or somebody to hold the wiring harnesses and stuff out of the way. But now you can grab by the fans here and lift straight up and lift the whole assembly with the fans and everything connected, and lift it out of the car. Okay, now that we got our old radiator out of the car, as you can see here, got my new radiator laid out and double checked that it's the right one, and it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom of the tank, and we're going to transfer the rubber grommets here onto the bottom of the new tank. Then we'll take the the lower radiator hose here, and then we'll transfer that to the new radiator, transfer the transmission cooler line to the radiators, and then we'll take the sensor out here. We'll have to unplug it and then unscrew it, and then transfer it over to the port on the new radiator. So all I did was to transfer over the coolant temp sensor is just unplug it like that, and then use my wrench, crack it free, and spin it out. And you're going to inspect it. If the O-ring's in bad shape or anything, you might want to replace it, or if you suspect the sensor's in bad condition, go ahead and change it out now. And that goes the same thing with any of the hoses. And so you can go ahead and just screw it into your new radiator and tighten it down. And you don't have to go super tight, just kind of snug. The O-ring is what keeps it from leaking out, so you don't need super tight to stop it from leaking or anything. The O-ring itself is the sealing agent on this one. So now that we got those done, transferred over, now what we do is we're going to take our fans and take the 10mm bolts out of the left fan here, and it just hooks in the bottom here. So we're going to take the two 10s out and then hook it in the ports, put the 10 back in and bolt that up. And then on the other one, we'll take the 10 out of the bottom here and the two 10s at the top, and transfer it over to the new radiator, and bolt those up. Okay, now that we got all our fans and everything transferred over, and our coolant temp sensor replugged back in, what we're going to need to do is reinstall it back into the car. And we want to line these rubber grommets up right here with the two ports here. So those rubber grommets are going to fit inside these little ports. And like I said, like when you took it out, if you had somebody help you maneuver things out of the way, have them help you hold the wiring harnesses and stuff out of the way and hold things back, then you can slide it in, And once you slide it in, slide the radiator back into its little place, and you double check to make sure that those little rubber grommets didn't fall off when in the process. Now you can go ahead and install the top ones. So you hook them over the lip, hook them on like that, and start your 12mm bolts on both sides. Now that you got the brackets back on, the radiator's pretty much bolted back in, you can go ahead and plug in your temp sensor here and your fan. Plug those back in. You always want to listen for those clicks. That indicates that it made a good contact. So go ahead and plug in the fan motor over here, and then after that you can go ahead and remount your fuse box and put the tin back in. Now that the fuse box and all electrical connectors are reconnected, I like to install the transmission cooler lines next. So go ahead and just plug those on and put the hose clamps back on. So now that the transmission cooler lines are plugged back on, go ahead and install your lower radiator hose. Put that on, put the clamp on, and any of the little looms that held the vacuum lines and stuff like that, go ahead and reinstall all those. Now you can go ahead and install your upper radiator hose. And then after that, so now the radiator is pretty much installed, and we need to fill it up with coolant. But Toyota was nice enough to put it kind of underneath this little cowling here. So you have to either use a funnel, a special design funnel that has a little, like a little L in it, or just use a funnel and pour it at an angle and fill it up. So you want to fill it up with the proper coolant, with the proper Toyota 50/50 mix. It's a red colored or a pinkish colored coolant. I think it's red actually. And then fill it up, and you're going to start the car and run it. And also double check your transmission fluid. We did lose a little bit, so you're going to have to top your transmission fluid up a little bit. And then you're going to run it until you feel the thermostat on the lower hose. It'll open up and this hose will get warm. And then this coolant level will probably drop a little bit. So then you'll top it back off. So that it's going to take 10 or 15 minutes or so of running this. And also you want to keep an eye on your coolant, your temp gauge, make sure it's not overheating, and then you also want to wait to see the fans operate. And when you're doing this, you want the AC off, and you can turn the heater on, but leave the blower off. And you just run it. It's designed to be a self-bleeding system, so you don't need to open any bleeder screws or anything on this car. And you just run it until the thermostat opens, and then the coolant level will drop. Like I said, you top it off to, once you got it set to where you want it, then you cap it off, test drive it, and after you get back from your test drive, I let it cool off 10-15 minutes, and then reopen the cap. Double check the fluid level one more time, and also make sure your overflow bottle's filled to the proper level. And that's how you change the radiator on a 2001 Toyota Sienna. I'm Brian Eslick from How To Automotive. And I'd like to thank you for watching my videos, and as always, it's my pleasure sharing my experience with you, and I encourage you to subscribe for more valuable videos. Thank you again.